Here.
Mr. Dewey?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
Mr. Mankini will be absent this evening. Mr. Doyle?
Here. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order at this time. Number 3 is closed session, resolution 283-2025 authorizes council to go into closed session. I believe we have something for closed session tonight, yes?
Yes.
So do I have a motion?
Motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. We'll be back, folks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We're going to proceed with the meeting. 2 things we'd like to bring to your attention. First of all, unfortunately, I've been sitting here while Amy's been trying prior to the meeting for about 30 minutes. We are not able to stream the meeting tonight because we don't have any internet access here. She was not able to be successful in hooking that up. So those of you who are in attendance are the ones in attendance. Second of all, tonight you'll notice that we have 2 attorneys sitting here. The reason they're sitting here is not only does it take 2 of them to do what Jerry does. Just kidding. As you've seen over the last couple of meetings when Jerry hasn't been here, we've had one or the other here. And tonight, Dancy McGuigan and their law firm decided that for the benefits of us as well as the township, they were going to send 2 of them for the price of 1. So you are not paying double tonight. So that's a pretty good courtesy since both of them have been briefed on different matters. So we figured they offered to bring both of them here tonight for the goodness of all of us. Okay? We are back from closed session. We're not going to take any action on anything. We are, however, going to switch something up tonight. Benefit also because we're not live streaming, we're going to have our comments prior to the public comment. Okay? 2 reasons. First of all, we're not live streaming tonight, so usually by the time of historic meetings run till 9 or 10 o'clock, there's not many of you here, so you don't get the pleasure of listening to all the homework that we've been doing. So we're going to give that to you prior to public comment. All right? So I'm going to open the floor. Mr. Ward, let's start to my left.
This is council comments.
Council comments, sir.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Very nice. I don't have anything at this point in time, sir, thank you.
And I as well have nothing tonight, so I'm going to defer to Mr. Dewey.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to bring up a few things that is important to us up here. And it's, a couple of them are gonna be directed right out of administration. When myself and Josh got elected, one of the things that we pushed for all the employees that work for the township was performance reviews. And I think it was the second year, Josh, that they did it, and it was done half-assly. And last year it wasn't done at all, but we're in the performance review stage of the year, which we expect to have those completed and handed over for council for review. And I think the way it should work means that we don't have a business administrator. The department heads should be responsible for their employees. Administration should do the department heads, and then allow the council to review them before they're put in their file. Okay? The budget things they should be getting their figures now for the 26-year budget. We would like to see a preliminary budget no later than January 31st instead of August. I don't see how it can possibly hurt the township. If you have your budget, preliminary budget, and you're waiting on the state numbers, it's a matter of adding and subtracting our budget. and it should help in delaying getting the final budget for the year. Next question I have for administration is, we have a very big event coming up on July 4th of this year, our 200th birthday. 250, what did I say? 250, yeah. I haven't heard anything, are we working on anything for this event, for the town?
Are you done?
Well, I got more questions, but
Well, I can wait.
okay. Another question I have, for the rec director about the, trunk or treat. Why is it November 1st instead of the week before Halloween? And I'd like to answer, are we having a tree lighting? Any word on the weeds at the Greenberg farm?
I put in the request through community development. I don't know where it is after that.
Okay. Where do we stand with the field lighting?
I believe they're gonna be starting either this week or next week probably. And it's gonna be ongoing project from October to end of November, I believe.
Actually, I have an answer for that. It's actually already started.
Has it?
They're currently at Nesbit,
Mhm.
and then they will be moving down here.
That's why I hadn't heard anything. I thought they were starting this week, but
Is there any word for the playground for, Holbridge?
I haven't heard anything.
You know, we ripped it out, and that's going on 2 years. If you look at this other sheet, we have funding for it, and I'm just wondering, you know, you rip out a complete playground for the kids in that neighborhood, and they have nothing. And I just don't understand, if you have the funding, the grant, what's the problem of getting the project off the ground? If we get an answer for July 4th, I talked briefly with Marty, it would be a perfect opportunity to combine the water carnival and the 4th of July celebration on the same day. To utilize the lake with fireworks. Because July's gonna come up pretty quick, and I don't know what the administration has planned, but I think we've gotta get committees together and get this off the ground. And Joe, I got something for you. It's probably a year. We had asked for an investigation on the firing of Tom Boyd. And I think Amy Bear started it. But we need, answers on that.
What was the name of the,
Tom Boyd. And the other question I had was, I didn't witness it, but I was told that there was a car show 2-3 weeks ago, and it was at the old EMS building. I don't remember that coming through council for permission to use township property for a car show. So that would be another question for you, Jack. I think that's it. So, I'm ready. We're ready.
All right, performance reviews were normally done by the business administrator, since he was the person who was,
That's not true.
okay. What was your next question?
The performance review should be done by the department head because.
All right, what was your next question, sir?
I got plenty of questions. I already gave you the questions.
Okay.
So what are the plans for the 4th of July for the township?
I reached out to our historic commission, a couple months ago, and told them that I was gonna be reaching out to them, officially asking for their input and possible, heavy involvement in doing something for the 4th of July. suggested possibly a parade. I did send that email to the Historic Commission president and one of the other board members. I actually was talking to a member of that group tonight. And I did explain that time does go by quickly, and we kicked it off today, basically, by just identifying if we want to do something.
So, or like the next meeting, are we gonna be forming committees or getting different groups together?
We're still on the ground floor getting this started, and this is the first time for a lot of people, so.
Danny, if I could, just on the one comment you had asked, Mayor, you said the BA does all of the performance reviews?
I thought the BA did the performance reviews because all personnel issues went to him.
No, sir, I can tell you in 25 years of employment here, I had never had a performance review done by the business administrator. The department heads, my chief of police, my lieutenants, my superintendent of public works did my performance review, had me come in, sign off on it, then it was submitted to the BA for review. In absence of a BA, I would imagine that would probably be you.
Possibly.
So these employees can expect no performance reviews this year?
I haven't got to that part yet. I mean, I'm doing my job as mayor. It's kind of hard to do some of the other things because I'm already full-time tasked as mayor.
Understand, so since you brought that up, where do we stand with the BA now, sir? I'm sorry, Dan, I don't mean to take
No,
that too long.
We're still advertising for it. We haven't had anyone interested for a long time. And the last time we did get somebody interested, the amount of money that they wanted was nothing that we could possibly afford.
You and I had a conversation 3 or 4 weeks ago, and you told me that the previous administrator that we interviewed with you was still interested in the job.
That kind of fell through.
How did it fall through?
I don't want to discuss it on microphone in the council meeting.
Bringing it back next week.
Huh?
We'll bring it back next week then.
The other thing you were asking about the Fall Fest, it's not a trunk or treat, it's a Fall Fest. We do have a lot of activities going on that week. We have a brand new recreation director that looked at it and saw that the calendars are pretty congested with a lot of things. And it's starting off early. I mean, even this weekend, we have, as part of my closing comments that I'm not gonna do now, but this weekend, we do have the, I forget what the name of it is, the official one, the Fire Expo. And that's Saturday over at the Country Lakes Firehouse between 10 and 1. I mean, a lot of people take advantage of this nice weather and they have fall festivals and other things. I know my family enjoys going out to Chatsworth every year. So our people saw that there is a lot of congestion during the Halloween period with trunk or treats and everything else. And I think the last week of October, there's more trunk or treats than you can throw a stick at. So I believe the thought process was, let's continue on through the weekend, but it'll be a fall festival, not a trunk or treat. And if people that participate want to bring candy to get kids, and the kids want to get dressed, that's fine. We're not gonna limit that, but we're not gonna gear it as a trunk or treat thing. It's gonna be the Fall Fest. And I mean, Halloween's Friday night. Hopefully the kids aren't too much of a sugar high Saturday. And we're gonna do something a little different. I mean, we have some new people that we're trying to bring in. We have a new director. Sometimes new blood brings new things that are bigger and better. You can't stick with the same thing over and over again. And so we're gonna try something a little different this year. And as far as the car show goes, Councilman, I believe, I could be wrong, but I thought I talked to the VFW and they did have that on the agenda in March or April, I think, for people to use that lot. They've used that lot for, I don't know how long. We did get their insurance documentation and all verified everything was there that we needed. They took the money and their own money and got a porta potty out there for facilities for the residents that participated or visited. Turnout wasn't quite as what I would like to have been. Past years, they had huge turnouts. Unfortunately, this year, they scheduled it the same day as the Toys for Tots Corvette run into Atlantic City. So a lot of Corvettes were going down the Atlantic City Expressway at the same time where they were doing the car show, and there was a lot of other car shows that day that conflicted with their schedule. So there was quite a few cars out there, but not as many as they've had in the past, and I'm hoping next year it bounces right back to where it was. Was there one I missed?
You didn't have an answer for Cold Bridge, right?
I'm not sure where we are on that, to be honest.
Okay, when you have the money laying on a piece of paper, I don't know what the problem would be to get it done.
Our new director would like to make a comment on that.
Good evening, everyone. On Holdridge, I was actually brought into the, to the idea of what the concept is. So currently, what we're going to do, we're going to engage, I know the playground, so we're gonna actually engage general recreation to go out and take a look at the old playground area, give us an idea of the concept and, the idea of the concept. Mr. Michael, can't think of his last name, but we'll talk to Michael and have him come out, check it out and see what we can get out of it. And what our time frame is. Of course, we know now the weather is changing. So we can get the preliminary stuff, give you an idea of what the concept would be, and then see what the equipment costs. And then after that, of course now we look at port in place as opposed to mulch and different things. So for the servicing, you have to wait till better weather anyway. So there's another project within town that we have to wait for, the port in place in the spring. So, at this juncture, we can actually talk to him, get some concepts, and then, kick it around to everyone and see what they think. So, that's the idea of that. That was a conversation I had earlier this week.
Okay. So another thing that I heard through the grapevine, that we're looking at 4 people for recreation to replace 2 girls that did a good job for us.
That's incorrect. We're advertising for, rec league and, rec aid. And if you go to our internet page and look at job listings, they're clearly posted, 1 of each.
So it's gonna take 3 to replace.
Councilman, when I got elected, we had 3 people in that department.
We'll see, okay.
I think last meeting you said it was gonna be 2 aides, and then you just recently posted for this rec league.
I mean, I like to say things and I like to think things, but then I'm not micromanaging, and that people recommend things and they think it's gonna be better. I gotta be open-minded to listen to what they're telling me. Unless, of course, you're telling me I shouldn't do that.
No, I'm just saying, is, last meeting you said it was gonna be 2 rec aides, then we just saw the ad for the rec league, so that made it 3. And, Kendall's obviously here full-time already, so that would be 4 people in that rec department. When you created the budget for 2025, you made sure that there was only gonna be 2 people in the rec department for 2025.
You're saying I made sure there was only budgeted for 2 people.
Yeah.
I followed what the director of the department at the time recommended and wanted.
Well, without either one of those 2 here that, can contradict that, you made cuts to their proposals, so you had the final say.
I'm gonna argue that fact right now.
Okay,
You
yeah,
can say
yeah.
what you want, I didn't make any cuts.
All right,
And
well,
I'll say it for
anyway,
the second time.
Somewhere down the line, we wound up at two employees full-time for 2025 for the rec department. So therefore, I believe, even though you want, we don't have any control over it, but you should stick to the town's budget and only hire the 2 full-time employees that the budget calls for.
We've already verified that the funding is in place for those 2 individuals that we wanna hire. And since personnel falls under the mayor, we will hire 2 people.
Okay, yeah, we have no control, but, now we'll go down another rabbit hole with funding. There was plenty of funding, this is my pet peeve, plenty of funding for code, but yet you just continue to refuse to hire full-time people for code.
And again, Councilman, you're getting into personnel issues the council has no business getting into.
I'm getting into town issues. I
You
represent
call
the
it what you wanna
town.
call
Yeah, I represent the town, everyone up here represents the town, and we want to work in the best interest of the town. Yeah, there's, again, monies in a fund that doesn't even affect the budget, but you refuse to hire people. Yeah, and speaking of hiring, you said nobody's been, knocking down the door for VA. How come the township councils have gotten 3 different resumes from 3 different people saying they sent them in for the VA's job and had gotten no response? And we had
it.
one.
Again, Councilman, I'm gonna say, personnel issues fall under the mayor, and I'm kinda
Good
confused
job.
as to why you're doing personnel things.
Because we want a VA.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling us out here to the public that nobody's applying. We're telling you, we know that's not true, I'll be nice about this. And, we're just wondering why. You say nobody's knocking on our door, but we have people sending us on our township emails, I've applied for this job twice, but I've got no response.
I have one right here in my hand.
I've applied for this job, got no response, and I know that's not in my purview, but when you tell untruths, then it falls under mine, and I mean,
Well,
people,
I dare you, if you think I'm lying about something, then I think you need to file some kind of ethics charges, Councilman. That's all I can say.
Do it.
Please do, please do.
they're not worth the paper they're written on.
All right. My only question for this, and hearing what the comments are and the responses is, Mr. Rector, you were here clearly that night that we voted you in. My question is coming from a residential standpoint. You coming in, fantastic, long overdue. Okay, no question about that, that position needs to be filled. But now you're asking for 2 or 3 subordinates. Okay, fine. The mayor is asking for 2 or 3 subordinates. So my question as a resident, not as a councilman, my question as a resident is, what are you going to provide to me that the 2 people that were there before were not running or were not providing to this town? How are we going to justify to the people, which is what we have to do, regardless of whether we're administration or council? We have them to answer to. And that's why we're talking about transparency here. If you're gonna tell me we need 2 more, or Mary, you're gonna tell me we need 2 more, perfectly fine. What are we providing to the residents that they didn't get before that requires the 2 full-time employees to fill, when the 2 that were here before are now gonna have to be 3? Understand? Yourself included, because the person that was sitting in your seat wearing your shoes was doing 50% of this work herself. So that's what we're looking for clarity on, sir.
Yes, good evening again. Thank you for the question. So, one, just to give clarity on recreation, it's not just programming. There's other things that come along with it, whether it's the building rentals, the various building rentals for the facilities, which, as currently right now, building rentals, facility rentals, meeting with different people or making connections, that's what I'm doing, as long as, and as well as preparing programming or attempting programming program. Right now, I'm in the process of creating a calendar for the rest of this year and also into next year. As far as employee or a staff, a team, I say a team. I come from a location that we had a team where to effectively outside of just events, but programming throughout communities. Because the Pemberton area, this area is definitely delineated in separate areas. So to better serve the community, whether it's in the evening after hours, or even more so on the weekends, so we can actually cover more areas. I'm one person, so if I want to do something at the Nesbitt Center on a Saturday, right, or the MIA on a Saturday, two different demographics, and maybe even possibly 2 different bases of participation. we're able to accommodate those things even at the same time. And also even with, whether it's like a public event, say the fall festival or even tree lighting, paid staff are required to be there, right? Most of the time with recreation, we do rely on volunteers. Volunteers aren't guaranteed. We appreciate volunteers for everything, but to bring something more effective, a staff would be adequate. And mind you, we're not speaking top level staff. I'm not talking about a coordinator. I'm not even talking about some direct supervisor. These are 3 levels: director, direct supervisor, coordinator, leader, and aide. I'm looking for one. At first it was 2 aides, but during this process, I don't know if you see those, but as far as what we're getting as far as applications, the idea of bringing someone in that's never had any type of experience in recreation, there's a learning curve, just like there would be a learning curve in you coming in. But having a leader, so we brought it up to a leader and an aide. So a leader would actually, we're looking for more of a person, people that might have more responsibility, and also, and as opposed to an aide. In actuality, since we did that, we actually had a couple more substantial applications that fit the bill for recreation. They might have had some type of, whether it was with the YMCA or whether it was on base or different things like that. So we are definitely getting more substantial quality. And also too, when we're bringing in full-time people, we're looking for longevity. We're not looking for someone that says, hey, I want a job. Because full-time recreation is a summer job. It's not lifeguarding, it's not summer camp. It's actually all around serving our community. And so if we're gonna take the time to train them and put them in there, we want them to be full-time, and we want them to have those qualifications that allow them to, also matriculate up. Because my idea, I'm not a spring chicken, so eventually there is a succession plan. So you wanna be able to train people that might be able to stay long-term. So that's really that's my answer for the meeting.
And I appreciate your response, and thanks for the time to that.
Gary,
Just,
can I add one more thing, please?
sure.
I keep hearing director. What keeps getting overlooked is senior services and recreation director. He's the director of both senior services and recreation. It's not just recreation, so I wanted to throw that in there.
Okay, I appreciate that. But what I was getting to, sir, was when you begin your response to me, to my question, you listed a whole bunch of things that, needed to be handled. Everything you listed was already being handled by the 2 that we had. So when we're looking now to put 3 there, what I'm looking forward to as a councilman now is the additional services that weren't already being provided to be added to for our residents.
Right.
To justify why we need 3 instead of 2.
Right, so I like to add that so as well. So, in the last couple of weeks, I've been, one of the things I mentioned earlier before was what type of programs we have, whether it's relationships with the sports groups, whether we have enrichment programming and various other things. And I can't speak on my predecessors, but, I know there are some things that can be added, whether it's mentoring programs, because I know particularly mentoring programs were not happening on a regular basis, in the past. So that's one thing we can actually bring forward to the mentoring programs, whether it's musical enrichment, whether it's arts, various things. So as I have the opportunity to actually really analyze the community on the needs, because there's some areas that are there's things that are needed in some areas as opposed to others. And also for some events, I would say like the fall festival or the tree lighting or even the water carnival, those are major events that everybody in the township will show up. Everybody will here show up. But there will be some things that the whole may not show up, right? So once again, I think with you, once I'm able in, I can actually give you more of an answer. So, hey, these are the things I want to roll out, and then I can down to this. I mean, I have a plethora of ideas. Literally, I have a calendar that I'm going through that would add this stuff that may not have been everything.
I appreciate that, but like I said, before I run to the kitchen to get another cup, I like to see the first cup overflow.
No problem.
Thank you, sir.
And one more comment that I have is, I really, really hope that you do a good job for us. Okay? Because you got big shoes. These 2 girls did a fabulous job for us.
Yeah.
And was awesome. But the one thing that I want to make a strong comment on is
whatever date that the BMIA needs that building, they get it. And that's instead, if it wasn't for the BMIA, we wouldn't even have that building. And they've been here for over 100 years, and they do more for this town. How many members do we have now?
We have a lot of members. We have, over 800 members online, and, we've tripled our membership in the last year. So it's a lot.
You know, they plan a year out. And Marty runs the operation, we all work together, and if she has something planned for a date, we want the building.
So, yes, I actually had the opportunity to meet with Marty last Monday. We went over her calendar, I actually emailed her, put her calendar stuff within the, her calendar within, in our system. There was one date that was not available that was previous to me that was already booked, and I did let her know that it was not, open, I had everything in the system. So everything that she actually requested, I put in the system, she responded with some dates that she was not going to use, that she was able to push back to. So I totally understand the importance of the BMIA. Once again, I went to the open mic and performed, so I definitely understand the understanding.
That's some of the programs that they
Yes.
put on, and it's very important to a lot of people. And like I said, if she has an event, she gets the date.
Of course.
Okay, that's all.
Terry, were you done?
Okay, yeah. Again, Mr. Brunson, hey, thank you, for clarifying some of the stuff. And I hope, Jack, you were listening when he said the value of hiring full-time employees. You get a much better quality employee when you hire full-time employees. Because you just consistently won't do it with code, and I don't understand that, I'll never understand it, but, and just get back on the subject, the mayor already brought up about the fire expo this Saturday at the Country Lakes Firehouse, 10 to 1, hope everybody comes out. On another note about the fire department, they just got their latest ISO ratings, which is insurance rating. They improved. Any residents, businesses in town should contact your insurance companies, let them look up what the insurance rating was improved to, and you may get a discount in your homeowners or business insurance. The fire company's doing a great job trying to, still work with the manpower that they have and all, and we're doing everything we can do to help them out in turn. Getting back, just questions and answers. Jack, I gotta go back to the BA thing, again, like I said, we've gotten 4 resumes saying they haven't heard anything. None of us just jumped off the turnip truck, we've been around the block a couple times, we looked at some of the resumes, thought they were worth giving a second look to, some of them, one is even someone in-house, and, I just gotta ask this question. You're not bringing them in for interviews because they're women, or you just, what's the reason? I gotta ask that. It's 3 out of 4 were women. One in-house, and several of them very qualified, so I just get tired of saying hearing nobody's applying. Other than that, we're gonna keep doing the best we can here in town. I know you don't wanna address any of that stuff, cause you say it's not council's business, but the town people would like to know, the residents, the taxpayers, the business people, I think they all would like to know, what's going on. You don't think anybody deserves to know, but, we all keep waiting, we want this town to do better. I guess you wanna, keep doing more than you have to do, I don't know. I think that's all I have for right now. Thank everybody for being here.
All right, moving right along to public comments. The council's intention is to preserve the level of respect, courtesy, and civility required to successfully conduct the public's business. In this regard, the council should be addressed during public participation as a collective body and not individual members. In order to respect the speaker's time, council members will not engage in a dialogue or debate with the speaker. However, council members should feel free to ask the speaker a question or questions once recognized by the council president for purposes of clarification. Council members can offer comments on the speaker's remarks once the speaker has concluded his or her comments in their allotted 5-minute time frame. Who's first?
Good evening, everyone. Is this on? Hello? Hello? Listen. Oh, there it is. Okay, it was off. Good evening, everyone. My name is Marty Graf-Wenger, and I'm the proud president of the BMIA, also known as the Browns Mills Improvement Association. Thank you for gathering here today. I want to start by thanking everyone for coming out and supporting the recent Red Cross blood drive. We did really well, and I'm pleased to share that we will be organizing it again in the future. It was heartwarming to see how many community members participate, and everyone enjoyed the breakfast we served, especially the staff of the Red Cross. Before diving into today's agenda, I would like to take a moment to congratulate our 2025-2026 board of directors. We just had an election, and I'm excited to report that we have a great group of folks leading us this year. Now, I would like to discuss an important upcoming event that concerns our community, the School Board Candidate Forum, scheduled for October 26th at 2 p.m. at the BMIA building located at 40 Arbutus Street in Browns Mills. This forum is a unique opportunity for us as community members to engage with the candidates running for our school board. Each candidate will present their views on the challenges and opportunities our schools face, allowing us to understand what differentiates them from one another. I encourage everyone to attend. It's vital for us as informed voters to learn about the candidates' positions on key issues affecting our children's education. In addition to this forum, I want to share that we recently had a meeting with our new recreation director. During this meeting, we shared our hopes and dreams for our community and assured him that we would work together alongside him regarding lakeside activities. This is very important to the BMIA. We believe that turning our town around and revitalizing Browns Mills into what it once was, a vibrant community full of activities and fun, is the key to rejuvenating our area. We emphasize the importance of having events at our lake. The lake is what makes our town great and sets us apart from neighboring towns. The only community that comes close in this area is Medford Lakes, where it costs about $1 million to own a lake house. We firmly believe that our unique location presents a tremendous opportunity. We should be channeling every bit of our energy into bringing festivals and events to the lake, drawing in visitors who can support our local businesses, and potentially inspire new small businesses to open in our town. Recreation is the key to success in our community, and showcasing our beautiful lakes can significantly enhance our local economy. I'd also like to bring your attention to Resolution 290-2025. The BMIA fully supports this resolution, which focuses on soliciting bids to beautify and update the lampposts on the dam, I believe. We are 100% on this initiative, as we believe that updating the aesthetics around our lake, along with introducing more lakeside activities, will greatly improve our overall appeal and encourage more people to visit and spend money in our town. I also want to remind everyone about our upcoming Halloween event. So we will be having an upcoming Halloween event at the BMA building, and it's going to be fantastic. It is on Halloween night, and during the day too. We're going to kick it off with festivities at 3 p.m. We'll be handing out candy to the kids. We're going to put up proper signage and everything like that. Inside the building, there's going to be fog and fun and music, and there's all kinds of things planned. Later on in the evening at 8 p.m., we're transforming the building into the Witch's Ball, which will feature exciting activities, including prizes for the best costumes and our signature door prize basket. This has always been a fun highlight at our events, the baskets. So let's come together and make our lake a vibrant hub for our events and activities, and mark your calendars for the School Board Candidate Forum and our Halloween event. Your participation in both local governance and community festivals can have a lasting impact. And before I close out, I just want to say we did have one discrepancy, only one, with the recreation director. It was for our Passport to Worldly Cuisine dinner, which is our rebrand of the potluck dinner. And I initially asked for the Sunday, and it was not available, but we decided as a group that Saturday night would be much better, and I think the director said that Saturday night was available, so we're gonna have our dinner. It's gonna be January 24th instead of January 25th. So I think that works out better for us, so that was the only discrepancy that we had. Otherwise, we're doing quite well. All right, well, thanks, everybody.
Good evening, gentlemen. Alright, my name's Alexander Costa, I live at 50 Route 70. Alright, jump right into the resolutions, gentlemen. And, ladies, sir. Resolution 284, I say yes to. Resolution 285, I say yes to. My question for 286, 2025 is how much will the shared services contract be with the company for the ambulance services? 287, I say yes to. 288, I have 3 questions for, so make sure you guys jot them down. The first one is, what is a mission SCADA system and what does it do? This is in regards to the sewer pumps. Where is pump station 9 and 13 at? And my third question for that one is, how long will it take to install the mission SCADA system for the pump project? My question for 289 is, would you be able to explain it a little more on what was agreed upon in the collective negotiation contract? 291, 2025 is for Harry. Is this the dam project with all the lights and stuff? I have the
291?
290.
Excuse me, 290. Yeah, 290. Yeah, I do have a question for 291. 291, my question is, did we purchase the gun sound unit, or did we contract that out? Because I recollect us buying one of these units for the police department to be able to put in different sections of the community that we've identified that might have gang issues and gun violence. But here it says we're contracting out the service. So do we own one of these, or have we been contracting these out for the last couple of years? All right, for the new business, my question, number one, I'm sure Mr. Doyle, you would be able to answer that beautifully. Will these new computers that the police cars are going to get, are they coming with printers as well, or is it just the computer itself with the case? Number 2, yes. Number 3, yes. Letter B, I wasn't too sure on, so I was just going to ask if you guys could explain it a little bit more on what the grant budget status is, discussion of the grant budget status. Number 11, you know how I roll with the bill list. What is the total for the bill list, and how long until we can see it on the website? I also have created my own section. It's called the Alex Costa Comments and Questions piece. It's a little better than what's normally on the agenda. My first question is, what is the status of the change in government? I remember back in March we discussed possibly changing our form of government. I want to know if we have had any progress on it, if anything else has happened since we last talked about it in March. My second question is, well, not even a question, it's more of a statement. And I think the mayor commented on it. The fire department's having a trunk or treat event at the Country Lakes. I'm sorry, the Presidential Lakes Fire Station, and that's from 6 to 9. All right, am I doing good on time? Doing good? Do we have any update on the Christmas tree lighting? I don't know. I didn't hear Mr. Brunson say if we had any update. I wanted to also shout out the Public Works Department for fixing that sign outside. We've made the township better by doing that. So thank you to the Public Works people that worked on it. We've made the township beautiful again. It really has been beautiful. I just wanted to comment quickly. I understand we have a new lawsuit. I think it's unacceptable that we continue to get lawsuits. I want to know what the council is going to do to front the continuation of bad behavior from the head of administration to stop these lawsuits. This is ridiculous. We're spending so much money on legal bills, and then we have to fork out the money when we lose in the remediation because we somehow can't go to court because we're losing court. It's ridiculous. Trust me when I say I'm probably going to lose all my hair by the time we finish settling all these lawsuits. It's ridiculous. Continuation of lawsuits has to stop. How are we going to stop the continuation of bad behavior from the head of administration? And finally, I just wanted to say thank you to the council, Dan, Harry, Mr. Bianchini, Mr. Doyle, and Mr. Ward for all you do. We may not agree on everything that happens or what is said, but thank you for trying your hardest, and that's all we can ask for. All right, thank you.
Okay, I believe his first question was on 286,
Yes.
the contract.
$0.
$0?
To the township, yes,
Really?
yes.
Was it like a grant that covers this, or why is $0?
I believe they bill, anybody
They
that
bill
has
directly to the insurance.
insurance, if you
As a matter
have
of fact,
insurance.
this is a direct benefit to the town, because right now we have 2 ambulances in town. This is gonna put ambulances out in presidential lakes. You, of all people, ought to realize that there's a lot of accidents right there on 70 and the circle and everything else. That couple of extra seconds for first responders to arrive on scene, really can mean the difference between life and death. Plus, it's gonna add security to that building, because they're gonna be in there. So somebody's gonna be aware of what's going on in that building at all times. Right now, there's not always, it's alarmed and stuff, but there's not always somebody in that building.
All right. The next question is for
288, what is the system?
The SCADA system, mission SCADA system. What does it do?
Here's what I can tell you, it's a cellular monitoring system, so that they can monitor those different sites. Used to, what is there now is hardwired to a phone line, and it's starting to fail, it's like 30 years old, you know.
That makes sense.
So they can keep monitoring the wells and stuff, you know, well, pump stations, it's for sewer pump stations. And they don't have to send somebody out there constantly to check them and track them and stuff like that. That's about as much as I can tell you about them, you know.
You know,
We were slowly adding on more. I think we've had 5 of these already, and we're adding a couple more on this year, and I guess we'll add a couple more on next. Upgrades that need, you know, it's just like fixing that old car, you gotta keep going up.
You know where 9 and 13 are at?
Off the top of my head, I do not.
Nobody
Number
knows
3.
where. And how long will it take to install these units at these 2 facilities? Week, 1 day?
I understand it's a same day thing in and out.
All right, and then 290, would you be able, 289, would you be able to explain the collective negotiation agreement a little bit, if you're allowed to? What was agreed upon?
Contract,
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna discuss that.
Right.
It's,
Personnel problem?
contractual.
it's some
No,
contract.
the one thing I'll throw out is we did agree, I think, if I remember right, a 3% across the board for 3 years. Keep up with inflation.
All right.
The mayor said that they agreed to a 3% across the board as far as part of the negotiation. We will release that.
290, 2025, that was a definite yes.
That's, yes, that's, improve the, lighting, and they're gonna repaint the bridge down there along Mirror Lake, and, do some lighting improvements. I believe it's gonna be in 3 or 4 phases. We're gonna start at the lake and work up to where the new Horizon is building a new shopping center.
I'm assuming we'll probably not get done until January, February timeframe.
Time frame, you know, this stuff all has to go out, this is just the, first step really, you know, so it's, timing I couldn't really tell you about, you know. So.
All right, and
291, your question about was it a purchase or a contract. This is a grant. I believe, what was it, 2 years ago, Mayor, or last year?
I believe it was actually 3 years ago, we got a grant for the gunshot detection technology. And we've gone, and this is no reflection question, we've had some changes in leadership in the police department. They've all been very, very active in trying to get this technology in the town and operational. We contracted with a company that promised us the moon. And unfortunately, sometimes when you get some of these companies that do that, they can't fulfill what they promise. So we had our legal team do what legal teams do. We received our money back from that first company and we put it out for bid again. We have a new company that guarantees that we can get this in place before the end of the year when the grant is done and we have to spend the money by that time. So that's what this is doing, is purchasing it. They're telling us to get it in and operational before the end of the year.
All right.
Your next question was about the police cars.
Yes, the purchases, number one.
Those computers, I'm going on memory here, because we can't speak to department heads, but as far as going on memory, I believe that is just for the laptops themselves. The printing system to issue the tickets is an entirely different system. Am I correct on that, sir?
I pride myself in saying I don't spend a lot of time in police cars, so I couldn't tell you how the configuration is. But I'm gonna assume that you're probably right. It's probably the laptop and then the printer, some different piece of equipment.
Next, your question was number 11, what was the total
Yeah, what's the
on the bill
total?
list? Anybody pull it up for him?
I have that. That is, $965,000.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And when is it gonna be on the website?
No, that is not correct, Mr. Harper. I was given permission to put the bill list up on the website, but before I put them up, I need to make sure that whatever purchases were denied at certain meetings are noted and it's noted correctly. We have not been able to get to it at this moment, but I have been given permission to put them up on the website and they will go up.
All right. And, do you know what, a status is for changing this form of government?
Solicitor?
I'm not aware that any action has been taken.
Yeah, I know we had asked Jerry to look into it and,
Right, I think Mr. Dassey provided an opinion as to what the process was under the statute for changing the form of government.
Right.
Obviously, from that point on, there must not have been any further consideration in that direction.
I believe, and again, he was going to, recommend which he thought was the best direction to go, and then we were gonna have to form a committee, I believe, but, and I don't know if he ever got to that point or not, you know. Okay.
Thank you,
Last
Jeremy.
question was about your final question was about the Christmas tree lighting.
Yes, the Christmas tree lighting.
Sir?
Yes, the tree lighting will be on December 6th, Saturday, December 6th.
At 6 p.m. or
Around about 6 p.m. It gets darker earlier, and it's on a Saturday, so probably more people will be able to attend as I go into work on a Friday, and we'll be reflecting on.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jeremy.
That's it? You got them all now?
Yep, you got them all.
Hi, Mary Reynolds, Dallas Mills. I'm really, really glad that Mr. Brunson has really broad shoulders, because he's really stepped into it here, and I believe he has the credentials to really help us out, but the history behind the Recreation Department is so sore with us right now. Because of everything that happened there, what happened to the people that were in that department and, being forced out and he mentioned mentoring, and that kind of made me take my breath a little bit, and I'm hoping that we're gonna be very, very careful and reflective when we look at the recreation lead and the recreation aid positions. Because part of what happened, and I don't mean to get down in the dirt about it, but it's what happened, and it was serious enough for it to cause major problems for this township. If there's someone already handpicked for one of those positions, that doesn't have a lot of experience in recreation, but has some other experience that was previously promised the position maybe, or highly considered for that position, and poor Mr. Brunson is led into hiring that person, the world's gonna fall apart here again. And I'm just predicting that, that's what's gonna happen. Because a big part of what happened in the rec department was that, the position was not offered to the person that was in the job, but yet was going to be offered to someone else that was handpicked by someone in administration. So, I appreciate that we need different programs, but I wanna say too, when you mention mentoring, that not unlike Willingboro, it's a very unique and low to moderate income community. So we have a lot of resources that other communities may not have. Our TAG program is extremely strong. I was on the committee that formed that many years ago when TAG was first, the alliances were first mandated by the state. And our TAG has always been very strong, and it's always been very supported. Our Pinelands Family Success Center, we do have other resources and many, many other mentoring resources through the schools for our children, our families. So, as long as we're accommodating all those things as well, if we have programs that we can add, that's great, because we could use those. And we do have a pretty strong rec department, recreational program for sports. Those could probably use some help. I know they're hurting, and they have been for several years now. But I guess I'm saying exercise caution, and I really want to say to you, Mr. Brunson, exercise caution on the advice that you get. I love that you're reaching out and meeting with residents and speaking to them, but just watch where your information comes from. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that sooner rather than later, we need to address the change in our form of government. We're going on like 15 years of hierarchy that hasn't worked for us. And we really, if we can get some information from the solicitor and get that started and get committees together. I know it's a long process. I lived through the last one. I covered it extensively. We did a weekly column from the Faulkner committee that was formed, and they wrote a column every week for the newspaper, and we published it for the public's edification. So I know it's a long process, but we really need to do that, because we're gonna get stuck again. And we're not gonna know what we're gonna get stuck with next time, and if it's worse, I don't know what will happen to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. And one of the things that led me to my decision to put him in that position is that I was hoping in the 20-plus years that he has in there, he can see through the fog, and he's had to see through the fog before, and that his recommendation to the mayor for the appointment, hopefully that's what's followed through on. Thank you.
Pat Guthrie, 317 Birmingham Road. I wanted to bring up resolution 286 having to do with the capital health. And I understand it's costing us nothing, because that's what I was, just heard. But it would be nicer to have, maybe if we can contract with Virtua, because Virtua also gets paid through the health insurance company. Through experience, this year there was a trauma with my neighbor, and Capital Health came out, and Capital Health transported him to Trenton. I asked why we weren't going more locally so I could go and see my neighbor at the Virtua Hospital, but it was because it was a Capital Health ambulance. I then had to commute back and forth from where I am to Trenton, and which isn't that far, from Birmingham, so it wasn't traumatic. But if I still lived out in Presidential Lakes, and I had to commute from Presidential Lakes all the way out to Trenton in lieu of being able to just go to Mount Holly, it would made a difference at that point. So even when Capital Health showed up with their ambulance, and I was like, well, can't we bring him to Virtua? I was told no, that he would have to go to the Capital Health. So when we're choosing these contracts with these ambulance services, we really need to consider the residents and how far they would be having to commute to see their family, friends, loved ones, you know, because it was a hike for me. Trenton terrified me. Every time I was going every day, people knocking on my windows every time I went to a traffic light, asking me for money, and I just kept the windows rolled up and prayed that I was gonna be okay going in Trenton and out of Trenton. So if that could be taken into consideration, I just thought I would make the council aware that that is the given situation when we're contracting with Capital Health. The only other resolution I had questions about, and I'm kinda hoping that it gets tabled, even though the grant money is grant on 291-2025. It would have been nice to have the chief of police here, or someone representing the police department in reference to this, gun detection system, so that, we can ask them some questions and what it's all about. I'm just kinda curious, that's a lot of money. Money has to come from somewhere, and it just seems like, ooh, we got grant money, spend, spend, spend. So I do have concerns about that. Thank you for having your comments before the beginning of the meeting too. That was really good. It was appreciated, and thank you so much, you know, Councilman Dewey, Harper, Doyle, and Ward, and kind of missing that. It was very educational and gave me more preparation for when I wanted to come up here and ask some questions. During the conversation of the, you know, with the council and stuff, it came up from the mayor that it should not be the council's concern about, you know, personnel. Personnel should stay as, you know, his decision and his call. Personnel has everything to do with, and the council should be aware of anything having to do with personnel, along with the residents here in Pemberton should know what's going on with personnel and how many people we're hiring, because with that comes how much more money are we spending. It's all part of the budget. You know, having to see performance of reviews going to the council to see if, you know, these are good reviews. When I worked for my job, 45 years, every job that I was in, every employee that I had, we did performance reviews, and as a matter of fact, with the military and the government, you did those reviews, and those employees, and one of the incentives to do these reviews is, can get bonuses based on what their review score is. I used to get some really nice bonuses based on my scores. So the council should be reviewing that. I also believe that, I've mentioned it a couple times about these sexual harassment workplace conduct reviews. They should go through the council too, because it's gonna be the council that has to approve these lawsuits. Like, was there some misconduct? Was there any sexual harassment? And geez, okay, we have another lawsuit in front of us. So making the council aware, would be pretty great. I see my time is up, but, I wanted to thank the wonderful ladies over here. Ro, you're terrific. I mean, you are just really wonderful. I can't express it enough. Candace, as CFO, honestly, I think hiring on experience is better than hiring based on college education. I would hire a clerk of mine to move up into a higher position as manager in all the jobs I've done, before I would hire someone out of college that thinks they know everything and knows nothing about doing the job. So you're really terrific. Consider applying for BA. Amy, you're wonderful. And I don't know enough about the director, but I do suggest that you kind of look at our history here in Pemberton. Pemberton has a lot of people that like to volunteer, a lot of people that help, and kind of look at our history of how things ran, and that'll help you move forward in your future. Instead of saying, hey, you know, I need 2 people, work with the people you have, and you might get more help from the people as volunteers, then, you know, we are a low income, small community, and every time personnel is hired, that's more money that has to go into the budget, and that's our tax dollars that we have to pay for this. So that's why I can't emphasize that the council and the residents have the right to know who's being hired, how long are they gonna work, how much benefits are they gonna have, and what is this gonna cost us? It is we're the ones that are paying. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Betty. As far as that gunshot detection system, okay, prior to me sitting up here in January 1, I was very privy to speaking to the police department and a lot of the upper echelon, and this is long overdue for our township, long overdue. When you respond to a call of shots fired, a lot of times what's the one thing you're gonna rely on is eyewitnesses. In a situation like that, nobody saw anything. There's this thing called repercussions. You see it on TV all the time, you think it's not real, it's real. People won't speak to the police. This is gonna take a lot of that out of the mix. When the police can respond to a very small particular area, okay, even though it could have been called in just one general area, this can maybe get them to a place where evidence maybe would still be able to be grabbed before it's disposed of. This is something that's long overdue for Pemberton Township, and I am so thankful that we're getting it.
I mean, we live near Birmingham, like, we're near Sunbury. Does gunfire happen there that often? I mean, I know a lot of people in there, and they're really good people.
There's a lot of good people in there, there are.
Yes, so, and do we actually get that much gunfire? Yep. To warrant over 150,000?
It's grant money, by the way, also for the taxpayers, we weren't paying that, it's grant money. Yeah, it came from somewhere, but it didn't come out of our pockets.
And if I could add, you're saying one spot in town, it's not just going in one spot, we're gonna be able to relocate that to certain different areas. We have hotspots throughout the town, not just one area of the town. As a retired officer, I'm sure Perry will tell you the same thing. It's not just one spot, we have issues in certain sections of the town.
If I can add something too, so when this grant first started a few years ago, I talked to Chief Glass about it. And he mentioned that what it would do is detect where the gunshot went off, and although that wouldn't tell you possibly where the person that shot the gun is at, because they probably ran in a different direction, that gets you to the victim, so you might be able to help them out because that's where it occurred. And I think that's what's most important about it. So to confirm, it is through grant money. The project hasn't changed. The only thing that changed is the vendor that is building it for us. And I do believe that it ends at the end of this year, so we would lose the money if we don't spend it and get it on the ground.
It is the end of the year.
Well, thank you.
And Patty, and as far as the capital health, I mean, when I first came here, Virtual was doing some of the stuff here, and I don't know if it was a test period or what, but you know, capital health, I think, got the job because they're tied in with the Deborah there, you know, so they're already here in the town. What else went on that they didn't pick Virtual, I'm not sure of, but you know, I know it's zero out of pocket to the town, and they just build the insurance companies, so.
And Patty, everything I can remember over my history, all the hundreds of thousands of calls that I went to that were medical related, the first question out of almost every ambulance that I saw off, the first thing they were asking the family was Deborah or Virtual in Mount Holly. I don't know if anything's changed with that, for years, that's how it was.
Yeah, well, they told me virtually not at all, and they never even mentioned the border. They were like, we're taking them to Trenton.
Yeah, your emergency room in Deborah is run by Capital Health.
Yeah, I think I was told that you can request where to go. The only exception for that would be if your injury is so severe you need a trauma 1 hospital or burn center or something special. There's no question they'll take you where you need to go.
It was a nightmare dealing with Capital Health. I mean, I had to get a lawyer just to get the neighbor released. So it was a challenge. So.
We we do have somebody here. Mr. Kitson, do you have an answer for this, sir? Would you happen to know if that's an option or not, sir?
I can try to give some clarification.
That would be great. Would you mind stepping up to the mic, sir, if you don't mind, please? Since this is pretty important to our residents. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you would, sir, just put your name on the record for me, please.
You owe me for calling me out. Brian Kitts, 14 California, to the residents on this subject. And
Yeah, I'm short. You can
You're
lift
too
it
tall.
up.
Can you lift it up? There you go.
okay. And you get me to write without my glasses. So just to clarify a couple things, and I may be able to help clarify with the detection system also. I spent 20 years as an EMT here in town many moons ago. What happens is, it's not a matter of the EMT saying, no, we're not gonna take your loved one to this hospital because we don't wanna go to that hospital. A lot of times it depends on what is that person suffering from, what is that person's injuries, what is the extent of those injuries. Capitol Health in Trenton is a regional stroke center. So if they had suspicion that that individual may have had a stroke, that may be why, then that would be why they went to Trenton, because that is the regional
And that
stroke center.
clarifies everything for me, right?
Just
Yeah.
as in Trenton, there's a trauma center, Cooper in Camden is a trauma center. Each of the different hospital systems have one or two things that they're really good at and specialize in. So if God forbid, anybody in this room's had a loved one have a heart attack or some kind of pulmonary failure, they would immediately take them to the ER here at the borough, because the borough can immediately admit them straight upstairs. So they're getting the best care in the area for those issues. So just to give a little clarification on that, I don't want the residents to think the Capitol is just like, yeah, we're gonna send everybody to Trenton and hey, up yours. Because that's not the case, to be honest with you. As far as the detection system, during my deployment to Iraq, we used a system like that. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Doyle, but it's a series. It's not just one single unit. It's a series of units that are linked together by video camera and audio. So if the gunshot goes off, whichever unit is closest to where it detects that gunshot will have a signal sent out, and then it will triangulate with the next nearest ones to it, so you can get a smaller area where the incident may have occurred. So I hope that clarifies things for everybody in the room.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And for clarity also, Amy's advising me the price on this is for 3 years. Mr. Kitson, I definitely owe you a cup of coffee. That is the definition of having somebody here to answer a question that the public has. Now imagine how well that would work with department heads.
Okay, I am Vicki Adams, and I came here tonight with no questions on the thing. But I am very upset about some of the things that I've heard come out of the mayor's mouth tonight, and I'm gonna call him out on it. Because in our meeting the last time, one of the last meetings we had, he said, when we were deciding on the rec director, that there was somebody at the senior building that could run that department. And now he's referring to that's why the rec director needs additional people. Okay, so you either lied now or you lied then, one of the two, okay? The BA situation. And gentlemen, I'm gonna ask you, if these are women that they're applying, you need to go over his head. You know why? Because this whole town can sue all of you guys for not running our town. Did you know that? I could start a lawsuit and get a couple other people on here, and we could sue the town for not running the town. And you haven't had a BA for a year because of this guy. Okay? Yes, I'm upset, because I'm upset about the fact, Mayor, I thought you were doing better. I really did. We hadn't heard about any new lawsuits or anything. And then I come in here tonight and I find out you have another lawsuit. What is the problem? Are you embarrassed by this? Isn't your family embarrassed by this? That you can't stop doing these things that you're doing? This is ridiculous. Okay? It's like, you're like a little kid that you have to get smacked on your hands 10 million times and you still don't learn the lesson.
okay? I do wanna correct that, I don't know if it was you that said it or if it was, Mr. Brunson, but, the sports department the sports stuff that goes on in the town is not through the township rec department. Okay, it is run by different various, entities within the community, so there's no football done through the rec center, there's no wrestling, there's no cheerleading, none of that. Okay, it's something that the former people wanted to bring back on board, but they were told no, that they could not. Because the other people that were running it did not wanna relinquish it. Okay, now I don't know how far that is, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention, since it was brought up. I also, was looking at this fall festival thing, the advertisement that's on our thing, it's, for 6 hours. But it only lists a very few activities, trunk or treating, movie night, which has to start, I'm assuming, at dusk, because you can't see the movie otherwise, bounce house, face painting, music, and fireworks.
Yeah.
Is that all that there's gonna be? Is there gonna be food trucks? Is there gonna be other things? Because that's not a whole lot to occupy 6 hours worth of somebody's time. Okay, you can answer that when I'm done. But Mayor, I wanna tell you, I was actually starting to feel better about you, because I was like, okay, at least you do it. But the way that you spoke to this board tonight was ridiculous. Okay, you made a statement earlier that, when they asked you about, well, I have to do my job, what else? Your job is to do all of this, is to oversee all of this, and to make sure each department is being run the way it's supposed to be. That is your job as the mayor. The BA is not separate from you, and that is no, you're responsible for the BA, you're responsible for the rec, you're responsible for everybody. That is your job. Okay, it's not, I don't have to do this, or I'm too busy to do this. It's your job. And in my eyes right now, you're not doing your job. Well, we elected you, and I was one of them that voted for you, and I solely regret it. Solely regret it, because you are not doing what we hired you to do, to make our town better. You're making it worse and more in debt. We have another lawsuit. What is this, number 9 or 10? I don't even know. Between the what is it called, the compensation ones and just the outright abuse ones that you did. And we're, as a township, are having to pay for it. I don't get it. Aren't you tired of embarrassing your family? Because I'm sure that they don't even get to walk out in the streets without being embarrassed and people saying something to them. You know, I'm sorry, but honey, you gotta grow up. And I'm older than you, I believe. Okay? You have to change your ways. And you're not too old to change your ways. Because I change every day. Okay? And I think better and I do better every day. Because that's what human beings are supposed to do. So, sorry, I just was not very happy with what I heard tonight, and I had to say something. So, Mr. Brunson, I don't know if there's more things going on with the fall thing. I would like to know, because I usually would take my grandchildren to that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, on the flyer, that's just a few things that we had. You can't put everything on the flyer, but of course there will be food trucks, and also some of these events will be staggered out. There's, we're working with the Clean Communities program. They have some other stuff that they're going to be assisting on. That's also tagged as well. So not everything is out there, but probably prior to the event itself, I will have a listing of everything that we be part of it.
Yeah, well, because like what I usually do is when these come up, I post them on Facebook. Okay, so my suggestion is to make a different one, because like the food trucks would be a big draw, especially for the older people. For families, it's like, ooh, we get to try a variety of food, and that's a big thing, just so you know. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Vicki.
Excuse me, Council President. Vicki, thank you. That brought up a question, since there was something about the fall festival. It takes me back a little bit. When the water carnival was canceled, this council sat up here and said that do not think you're going to use any of the water carnival funds to fund any of the other events going on. And then the coordinator, Jen Deeds, had a budget of $8,500 for the fall festival, trunk or treat, whatever you want to call it. And I'm wondering how we're gonna have all this stuff with fireworks for $8,500. Because I don't think anything's come up to council to approve any of that yet. Just another notation about that, yeah. I wanna see things go right, I wanna see us succeed, but, you know, it wasn't brought up to us for any of these approvals. And like I said, the tentative budget was $8,500 before. You know, I don't know if anybody has any comments on that.
Vicki, the comment that I had for you was, you had asked us about going over his head. And unfortunately, as the mayor stated, he is the one that does the hiring. As council, all we can do as a department head is approve who he wants to hire. If there's no way given to us to approve, then the position remains open. So there's no way for us as a board to hire a BA. It has to be brought to us to approve.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, but that goes back to Marie's comment that our form of government needs to change, because one people should not have the totalitarian attitude.
You are correct.
Good evening, everybody in general. My name is America Phillips. I live in Presidential 8 for more than 46 years. First, I'm going to speak in reference to the recreation. This will go for our new recreation director. I've been in this town, or in this township, for almost 46 years. And I cannot understand when we hired a new recreation director, he came and changed. Halloween supposed to be Halloween night. This is not fair. Everybody work and live by schedules in here. I just hope that you rethink and go back and put October 21st Halloween night. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Please. How can we explain to our children? Oh, guess what? You guys not going out tonight. They expect that. Please, do not change. Go back. You just start. I know you are a new kid on the block. But you're supposed to follow what we follow up in our all the function where our township had. Do not change anything, please. That's the only thing I gotta say. I hope that they change, please. Okay, now I'm going to touch in reference to the PR. I stood up in here several weeks ago, inaugurated out to the pension. North Carolina and Canadic Trail, there is 2 blind intersections in there. If I want coming out from North Carolina to Canadic Trail, I gotta come in the middle of the road. By that time, if a car is coming, guess what? They will get me, okay? I come in the other direction, it's the same way. Okay, I'm going to touch on the old lake store in Presidential Lakes. What is going on with there? That building is in tax sale right now. What are they doing about it? I hear for a long time. I want an answer, something. Okay, I was in the BM building this weekend. I'm one of the members and directors in there. And I noticed, I stayed there until the door were closed. Do not know even the lock works. Those locked there for almost 20 minutes. When I left, the door hadn't been locked yet, and got an alarm system. This is unacceptable. Plus, we have an attic in the BM building. The BI members, we gotta have all our stuff in closets, all messed up, everything there. That's historic building. The BM building give it, the township for a lousy $1. The only thing saving us right now is we don't have to pay rent. And there. I noticed also when I was outside, there is rats out and there is a hole in there. By the kitchen window, all kind of dead bugs in there. Not even toilet paper was there. Whoever cleaned it, get a board, okay? Each time I go in meetings and buildings, I check them out because I'm a taxpayer. And I'm entitled to, yes, discuss that. Okay, sitting in here, can somebody answer me those questions where I brought it up, or the house on Naya 3 Canadic Trail? Look like nothing ever happened to me. Got my 5 minutes. Somebody gotta answer me, there is taxes, they pay taxes, or what? I know a lot of things going on in there, but guess what? That's not my place. You pay code enforcement, there is houses in there. In case of emergency, how they going to find your house when you don't have even give any mailbox, no number, and no number in the house? I leave it that way.
Monica, was that the BMI building that you were talking about? The
Yes.
holes?
Yes. How long took to lock the door that day?
Last time about the brush needing to be cut back to be able to see there. Did you talk to,
I know,
DPW about that?
I know we had some, people mention Connecticut in that area,
Yeah,
because the brush was growing out into the street and they were worried about the kids going to school.
right.
And the feedback I got from the residents was the public works guys did great. So I wrote the address down. I'll email Public Works and I'll ask them to take it up, second check. Look,
Last time about the brush needing to be cut back to be able to see there. Did you talk to,
I know,
DPW about that?
I know we had some, people mention Connecticut in that area,
Yeah,
because the brush was growing out into the street and they were worried about the kids going to school.
right.
And the feedback I got from the residents was the Public Works guys did great. So I wrote the address down. I'll email Public Works and I'll ask them to take it up, second check. Look,
Like I said, I know she brought it up at the last meeting too, so.
They got it around, they didn't. You gotta confront the people who own those land, and they gotta clear out the bushes.
then that sounds like it's more of a code enforcement thing. We keep going on somebody else's property.
Well, I mean, I guess we can let DPW look and see if they've done all they can do, and then turn it over to the, highly experienced code department.
I just told you we got it before, code enforcement.
Sorry, Patty. Time didn't start.
Hello, everybody. My first question I wanted to know.
Can we have your name for the record, ma'am, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I signed the paper, but I didn't. Patricia Epps, 146 Medford Street. I wanted to know whether the mayor has ever paid back the vacation time to that employee. And I also wanted to know why can't we go after that employee? Because they weren't entitled to it, so that money should be paid back. I don't know where we are with that. Recreation and Senior Center. I went down there recently and I wasn't impressed with Mr. Brunson at all. I asked to see somebody and he was, I don't really know, you're welcome to look for her. I did look for her, I did find her. She's been there 8 years and even 2 weeks on the job, you should know who works for you. You should know your people, your underlings. I was told that the yoga instructor, which I enjoyed for about 2.5 years, will be coming back. Wonder why that is. I do know why. There were 2 directors prior in recreation doing a super job for less money, but Mr. Brunson needs help with hiring 2 positions. Now I learned was 3 positions. Bump that. We need 2 positions in code enforcement, and we need a business administrator immediately. Trunk or treat November the 1st? Really? Let's do the Christmas tree lighting on the 26th. This is pathetic. And I just read 13 pages of a new lawsuit. We don't have this kind of money. This is just overwhelming to me. We can't pay for this over and over and over. I'm sick of it. Thanks for listening.
Ms. Epps, the one question I will address was about the employee, going after them to pay back the money.
Or the mayor.
We did go after the mayor, okay? As far as going after that employee, let me give you a hypothetical, okay? You pull in here to the stations and into the township tonight for the meeting. The place is blocked, no parking spaces. The mayor's in his car pulling out of a spot that's designated for the mayor only. Mayor rolls his window down, you say, "Sir, if you're leaving, can I use your spot?" The mayor tells you, "Sure, go right ahead, you can park in my spot." You park there, you come into the meeting. You can back out, the township towed your vehicle. Should we hold you responsible for that? You turn around and say, "No, you have permission to park there, correct?"
Correct.
Okay, that employee had permission, or was given permission in writing. There's no reason to touch that employee. My opinion, I'm giving you my personal opinion, and I do believe some of my constituents up here feel the same way.
Mr. Doyle, is there any way to make him pay that back? Can we get that back at some point or not?
We're working on that. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I just want to, I'm not familiar with the statement I made, but as far as reference to the yoga instructor, I did speak to Ms. Christine Black. Due to her schedule, she's no longer available to teach the class, but she is recommending several people that will teach yoga for us. So it's a schedule issue, not any other reason. Just want to let you know that.
Thank you.
You do have, I think I saw on the bill list, you got somebody coming in for a different type of class too, Zumba class or something?
Yes, there's
So you are gonna start having programs?
Yes, yeah, so definitely, I'm learning some of the instructors that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
But I'm also familiar with other instructors to bring other things like cycling and various other programming.
Yeah.
But Zumba's actually only starting next month. I'm working on the schedule now.
Yeah.
And that will actually, that actually will happen in at the senior center. But we are working for other programs. But I am speaking to another yoga instructor tomorrow to see what her schedule is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Council. James Cullen, 226 Gilbert Avenue. I want to speak about clarification for a moment, because I think that might be a common theme here. I think we have residents asking for clarification, and frankly, I think some residents could benefit from clarification, and I think that clarification is something that council has been asking the mayor for, and the mayor's been asking council for. And I would like to ask the council for clarification only on things that council can clarify, because council can't speak for everybody, the mayor can't speak for everybody. And when we get an answer, we know if it's a good answer, and then we're satisfied. If not, we keep asking. So when people come up here and they keep asking the same things, they're probably not getting enough clarification. And one thing I want to say, just for council, because it's unclear to me, and I see a common element with especially tonight's agenda. And with other things where it seems that power is being taken from the mayor and transferred to council. And it's not just for the current mayor, it's not just for the current council, but indefinitely until something changes. So I think people, I as a resident, and I think other residents, would appreciate some kind of clarification. Why? Because these are changes that are going to affect future generations if it stays the same. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that when people come up here and people speak about anything having to do with any public official, I get it, that's fair game. People can express any opinions they want. But I just want to say in front of council, for the residents to hear, because I believe that this is something that I do, and I believe what other people should do, is keep it to officials and not to people who, in other words, I don't know that it's very fair for residents to comment about people who are not public officials, who aren't even here. And I think we've had some of that. And I don't think that's fair. I think we're better than that. I don't think we should do that. Pretty much that's my thoughts for tonight. Didn't really prepare anything, so I just want to express some things that are on my mind. So thank you for your time, council. I hope everybody has a good night.
Good evening, I'm Robert P. King, 247 Amherst Avenue, Pemberton, New Jersey. Just wanted to let everyone know that in Pemberton, we do have a Cub Scout pack. It's pack 152, so if any of the parents have kids that are from kindergarten to 5th grade, we meet over at the American Legion every Sunday at from 1 to 2. And then for the older kids, from 5th grade to the age of 18, they can be in a scout troop, and we have 2 troops here in town. We have troop 2397G, and we also have troop 145B, so one's for all girls, one's for all boys. We also have a lot of Girl Scout units and stuff, so girls can actually be in both if they want to be in both. So we have a lot of opportunities. Also want to let y'all know that the first weekend in November, I think it's Saturday, November 8th, we're going to be doing a scouting for food. And anyone who needs service hours or would like service hours, I'm sure that the troops could definitely use your help, so please get in contact with us. What we'll do is that Saturday we'll go drop off bags and flyers, and then the following Saturday we walk through the neighborhoods and pick up food. And also, just to let you know, when it comes to that, we would love to have enough kids that we could canvass the entire town. Unfortunately, we don't. So right now we're kind of limited to Country Lakes and Lake Valley Acres. So just to let y'all know. So if we can get more kids and more help as far as that goes, then all that food goes to the local food banks. We give it to the Christian Caring Center and to the Browns Mills United Methodist Church food banks, so which helps out the people here in the community. So that food does, we try to keep that food in the community. One year, some of it didn't because we filled both food banks to over capacity, so they had to send it to other food banks. So that was an awesome year. So, also schools. Make sure your kids are doing their homework. Make sure there's a thing called Genesis where you can look up the students' grades. The more interest people take in your education of your kids, the better your kids will do in school. So, and we also have someone in the audience who's going to be doing, I think, a Pemberton Education Foundation briefing soon, so hopefully. And it's kind of exciting when it comes to the schools. All right, do y'all have any questions? Oh, also, one more thing on Scouts. There are 2 scouts in the area. Chase is working, trying to get his Eagle stuff done. And another scout, Dolores, she finished up her last merit badge last Friday. Now she's just doing the paperwork before she gets her board review. So we should have hopefully 2 Eagle Scouts coming to the town very soon. So, all right, y'all have any questions?
Did you wanna make a clarification on the troop that came in here and with the flowers?
Oh, Troop 22?
Yes.
Troop 22 is not a Pemberton troop. It is some people that decided they wanted to go form a troop in another town. So they actually serve Lumberton, is the town that they're serving. So, the scouts are trying to raise a lot of money this year. So like we had a fundraiser planned. I didn't know that they had requested one. So we almost took a bath on a lot of flowers for the girls, and they were not able to, the girls in my troop were not able to do any fundraising. The fundraising that we're doing right now, summer camps are running about $600 a year to go to. And next year we have National Jamboree that we have some girls that are trying to go to. And it's gonna cost them $2,275 per person to go to National Jamboree. So that's why we're trying to kick up our fundraising efforts, because in scouting, we're not trying to, we're not trying to receive handouts. We actually kind of want to work for our money and teach the kids a work ethic by getting out here and doing the fundraisers and stuff like that. So.
I just wanted to mention, the council, I guess it was a mistake we all made when they came forward about getting the permission to sell flowers, and they weren't even part of Pemberton Township, and we had no idea, and hopefully it'll never happen again. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we're gonna move on. Oh, apologies. One lone survivor.
Erlene Alexander, Chickmuck Run. So I'm coming up here today because in my job, I'm Senior Program Manager for Change Management and Continuous Improvement. So my job is to make sure that I am a change agent for my job and that I bring it to others to change and to also continuously improve through efficiency and streamlining. So with that, I just wanted to say that I know Browns Mills has a rich, rich history, and we should never forget it, and we should always include it in our activities, but things have to change. I know you have your traditions, and you want to do it this way all the time, but sometimes you have to evolve, and you have to change, and you have to be open-minded and look at things from the big picture, not from your tiny peephole. So if you look at the big picture of things and get all the information that you need, all of the information, look at that calendar, look at this calendar, look at that program, look at that program, that's how you bring everyone together and you talk about it, and then you figure out what you can change and what you can do and how you can even streamline it. Like, why can't some of these events go together? You know, so I'm up here to say that perhaps we should look at the big picture, evolve, change. You know, change is happening all the time. You know, I'm doing continuous improvement with AI now. I wasn't doing it before. So you always have to evolve and improve and take the message and build on the message. And then I think it's unfair that everyone was getting on a recreation director. You have to give him a chance, right? You gotta give him a chance. He's just new here. And he's getting to know it, and I'm sure he's gonna incorporate our rich history into the programs and take it from there. So I just didn't like that because he's brand new and you have to give him a chance and he needs to get used to it. And to me, if you wanna come up here and talk to someone, talk to them the way you wanna be talked to. Talk about someone the way you wanna be talked about. That was how I was raised, and that's what I do, because I try to be better than the person I was the other day, or yesterday, or even 10 minutes from now. So that's all I have to say, is that we need to really come together, stop complaining, stop whatever you're doing, look at the big picture, come together, and resolve. That's it.
Anyone else? Okay, public comment is closed, we're gonna move on. Is anybody in a break before we go on, or we good to continue? We're gonna take 5 minutes, folks. Okay, we are up to the consent agenda. Actually, we'll do meeting minutes first.
The meeting minutes are part of the consent
Okay.
agenda if you wanna do it that way.
All right, consent agenda, all items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the Township Council and be enacted by one motion. Should a council member wish to discuss a consent agenda item separately, that item can be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Council, what's your pleasure? Are we gonna pull any?
285. Your mic?
285, you said?
289, I think we were gonna figure that.
289.
Okay.
And that's it.
Josh? Okay, can I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Hold it, please.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. Okay, resolution 285, 2025, authorizes cancellation and refund of property taxes on property owned by a qualifying totally disabled veteran. Mr. Dewey?
Yes. The last meeting, I think we had 33 properties that we approved. And I was just wondering, was this one missed? Was this another one? Because, it's a mandate from the state, we get no money for this. And I'd like, being that this Candace is here tonight, I'd like to ask her a question about it, if possible.
We may have an answer here from Amy, see if that helps you first.
I have an answer to the question as to why there was so many last meeting and so, you'll get these throughout the year, because they're approved and they're done as they're applied for, so. They're not done all at one shot, they're not,
Okay,
for a
yeah.
specific time of year, I think they're done as they're applied for. So, once one gets approved.
Did you need further on that, sir?
Yes. I'd like to ask Candace a question about this.
Candace?
First off, it might not be a Candace question, this would be a tax collector question.
Well, she's a money girl, right? If this is the wrong person to be talking to, could we come up with some type of budget estimate, like if we go back 2 years, how many of these things that we have to write off?
Yeah, we have line items for that, so we wouldn't
So
need to
you
do
are the
much
right
work.
person to ask the question to, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Shayla and I would, work together on it, but yeah.
Because I think last year it cost us about $2.5 million.
I would have to check on that, I don't know last
Okay,
year's numbers.
but I'm just, like I said, I have no problem with disabled vets. It's just that when we do this, we still have to pay their school tax and the county tax out of our funds. And I just think that, I think between Willingboro and Pemberton Township, we have the most vets in the county. And it's, I think we just have to look at this and come up with some type of budget so that we're prepared, because it's a big part of doing our budget. You know, it's a mandate, we don't get any money for the state, you know, it's their shoving it down our throats. But I just think we should get a little handle on it.
Okay, I can get you
Thank
something.
you. I have no problem with that, unless anybody else does.
Any other questions on 285? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve 285, 2025.
I'll second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Duell?
Yes. 289, 2025, authorizing a collective negotiations agreement between the Township of Pemberton and the Communications Workers of America, Local 1040. Questions?
Yes, Council President, and as I discussed earlier, I looked through this, and as much as I'd like to see the employees, because they're waiting on their increase for this year, I think there's, in my mind, too many questions to go through at this meeting. I mean, unless we wanna hash it out now, and even if we did hash it out now, Jack and the labor attorney would have to take it back to them before we could approve it. I mean, I don't agree with the way everything's laid out in here. I'd like to see the people get their 3% increase that they're due for this year, since they're 10 months behind, but at this point, either we go through line by line and work through it, or we make a list of things that we see wrong and turn them over to Amy, who could turn them over to the mayor.
The only other two big changes I remember is, giving a holiday for Juneteenth, but we're gonna not do the Columbus Day holiday anymore. We already have 14 holidays, that's quite a few. And then the other one was, allowing them to do personal days in hour increments instead of whatever it was before. I think almost everything else is the same contract they had before.
Well, I got a copy of the last contract, and there is a little difference, and like I said, I think just for safety's sake, it's best each councilman put together their list of issues they have Amy send them to you. I mean, unless we wanna hash it out here now. That's just my opinion.
How many issues do you have, Mr. Harper?
Yeah, I guess about 3, yeah. I mean, no matter what, it's not gonna get resolved.
Since this is a contractual issue, is this something we're okay to talk about here?
You can talk about it, but obviously any changes that would come about as a result of those discussions would be required to be taken back to the bargaining unit before you can actually adopt those changes, but it can be discussed.
What's your pleasure?
And as long, I mean, there are questions that should be asked of the administration, but if there's anything that might reveal a tactical strategy, in negotiation on that, I can anticipate what those questions or comments might be. But obviously, in negotiating any contract, there may be strategies employed as to, that may not be revealed, so, but if it's questions specifically on the proposed agreement, they're absolutely fine if you discuss at this point.
Okay, all right, well, I guess, and it's no secret that I had, questions about how, we pay people each year, and, I often say I came from the hard side of the tracks where I had to fight and work for everything. And not that these people don't, but we can only give so much. We have certain purse strings that we have to try to keep a tight grip on. and still improve things in town. I have no problem with the 3% increase, cost of living increase. My problem in lies, but after that becomes a longevity thing, and there's a percentage for longevity. And then on top of longevity, we have a step increase. So annually, that means we're getting 3% cost of living. Depending on our longevity, we're getting 4, 6, 8, and now 10, which wasn't on the last contract increase. And then you're getting a step raise, which could vary from, depending on your job title, $1,500 to $3,000 more dollars. So,
Harry, can I
yes.
address a couple of things you said before I forget real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the step thing is, Harry, you might know better than me, civil service. I don't think that's per the contract, I think that's civil service, so we don't really have a whole lot to do with that.
I think it's contractual.
Contractual.
Are they contractual? Okay, I thought it was civil service.
Yeah.
I'm still learning too, but
Yep.
the longevity thing,
Yep.
the change on that, like you said, there's a 10% or
Yeah,
10 year
yeah,
or
there
something.
wasn't a 10%
All right,
before.
what we did there is the police department, I don't know this. The police department had a longevity step at 24, the year before they retired. And that just didn't give me, I didn't feel comfortable with that, giving them a nice pay raise just before they run out the door. So we did do some preliminary discussions and nothing's written, I mean, we had one meeting with PBA. And initially, and I gotta say initially, and I'm probably shooting myself in the foot right now, they agreed to get rid of that 24-year step, but we added one earlier in the career to kind of compensate for it.
So you're not getting rid of it, you're adding it in sooner.
Well, the amount was different too.
Right.
So what we're trying to do with this contract, and what we've been doing with, like the Juneteenth, all the other contracts, they're gonna domino. So just because we changed this, the police department, that their contract currently says if we change and give Juneteenth on any contracts, they automatically change and get it on theirs.
Exactly.
So what we're gonna try to do is, well, what we're hoping to do is make Juneteenth the holiday for all the contracts. And there was the longevity pin steps that we were giving the police didn't mirror what we were giving the communications workers of America. So what we did was change this contract, knowing we were gonna change a PBA contract. And hopefully at the end of the day, they'll both mirror each other, be the same.
I appreciate what you're trying to do, you know, and, you know, not to throw bad light on anybody but myself here. Police are police, CWU is CWU, you know, just because one has it doesn't mean the other gets it. That's how negotiations go, you know, it's, you know, a brain surgeon's gonna get a different pay scale than the trash man, you know, that's just all there is to it. If you wanna hear my recommendations, here's what I'm throwing out, because I don't think we need to have COLA, longevity, and steps. Something's gotta go. So, you know, either my thoughts, you know, you give COLA for the first 4 years because they don't get anything but COLA. Once you move into, and then this is just my thoughts, once you move into your 5th year, which longevity starts, then COLA stops. You know, and then you can still have, we gotta get rid of one of these 3 things. I mean, you're looking, and I brought it up at the budget meeting earlier this year. Some people are getting 16, 17% raises. You know, and I mean, 48 years, 49 years working, I never.
And one of the things I repeatedly hear in Pemberton Township with our employees is we get paid so much less than the cities around us get paid for the same job.
I can't confirm that with every town, you know, I mean, I know some of the towns, but, you know, we have to draw a line somewhere, and believe me, you know, if you're taking out the cost of living after year 4, and the people are still getting a 4% longevity and a $1,500 to $3,000 step raise, that's adding up to almost double-digit, you know, percent increases. Plus, we still plan on picking up all their health coverage without any cost to them, which, you know, that was the first thing I always fought for when I was on the union side, was what my health benefits were going to be. Everything after that was gravy, you know, because health benefits are premier. So, you know, we got a real good, you know, health insurance plan here. You know, that's just my thoughts, you know, write them down, pass them around, think what you think. But, you know, I think COLA stops after 4 years and longevity kicks in, and then they still have their steps. You know, or we can talk about taking longevity out and keeping the cost of living raise in. That's one of my possibilities. If we do keep longevity, in my mind, the 10% increase, I think that's out. 8% should stay at the top. Just my opinion. And as far as your holidays, you know, my idea, you know, I know we talk about how many days we have the township building closed and stuff. Just an idea, we have Good Friday and Easter Monday. I think if you take away Easter Monday, you're not taking it away, but then make that holiday then a floating holiday. And if people want to use it for Juneteenth or Martin Luther King or, you know, any of the Jewish holidays or the Indian holidays, then that option exists. It's more diverse in my mind. Nobody's losing a holiday, but you can use that one as a floating holiday. You just would have to put some writing in that you have to put in for that 2 weeks or 4 weeks ahead of time or something like that, what's going to be your floating holiday. And I think that's fair. That's my only changes, I think. And Danny, you got anything?
I think we should take a good look at the, during the summer being closed on Fridays also. Because you have, people have to work 10 hours a day to get the Friday off. And I don't think the productivity's there to justify taking a Friday off when our job is to serve the taxpayers.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a few people and employees here, and they're not happy with it. They'd rather work 5 to 8 hour days. And, you know, if there's an emergency or whatever, we need people, we're gonna be paying them overtime to come in because they're off. And this building here is to serve the taxpayers, and it's gotta be open 5 days a week. That's all I got.
And again, Dan, you know, that wasn't addressed in this contract, but yeah, we talked about this, back in the spring. Work it out, that you know, have the building open 5 days a week, but you let, you know, longer hours, but you let some of the employees off on Monday, some of the employees off on Friday, and you're open 5 days a week servicing the township residents and taxpayers. And, it's all good, and I think that probably should go in the contract too, not wait till May 31st to hurry up and figure it out. And, that's just some of mine and Danny's thoughts. I don't know if any of the other councilmen have any thoughts.
I just had a question, some of the things that you commented on, Mr. Harper, regarding the longevity. The longevity isn't given every year as far as like every year. Once you hit that date, you don't get another 4% or whatever the percentage is.
You don't get an additional 4%, but it's 4% on your COLA increase plus on all of your steps.
It's an annual 4% increase, yes.
But you get that 4% for one time, and then.
No, you get it, years 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, it'll go up to
You get that
6%.
4% every year, as well as when it moves to 6, you get that. I mean, I went in and.
I was misunderstanding what you were.
Yeah,
what you were saying.
it's an annual thing, so annually, you're still getting, you know, the only thing that runs out is if you get up above step 6.
Just to clarify, if somebody has a base pay of, say, $90,000, $50,000,
Right.
and they get 4%, that, your longevity is based on your base salary. So if then you don't get COLA, the next year it's still gonna be based on the base pay. You understand what I'm saying, or am I misinterpreting?
I understand what you're saying.
So like,
But you're,
if you take away somebody's COLA, for 4 years, they're not gonna get any raise.
So that would pertain to somebody, in maybe our positions.
Right, and
But
not
for
every,
somebody
not every
who's on a
position
step
gets
increase.
step increases.
okay, well, I guess that,
I just wanted to clarify it, cause I just,
all right, well,
if you take away one and only give the other, then there's, I mean, if you give COLA every year, then yes, everybody gets raised.
so
But
you're-
if you take away the COLA and only give the longevity, you can't, then
okay,
4 years.
so you're saying there's some people that don't get steps that are in this same union?
No, that's not the
So-
case, but in general, for the people that are on the salary ordinance,
But that's a whole
They-
separate,
they don't get, they don't get steps.
Right, right.
So they're not getting that.
yeah, that's a whole separate thing, yeah, but this is specifically for this union contract, that's why I'm saying.
Yes, but we do follow a lot of the CWA. Sometimes GWU, I'm not really sure how that's determined, but to that, I think that these, in my opinion, are great ideas, to at least bring to the table and discuss as a whole how it would affect everybody.
Right.
With these contracts, especially because us as department heads, we are not under contract, but we follow a lot of the other, union contracts and what they have to offer, plus we oversee employees that are under these contracts, and we of course are, it's in our best interest to make sure that they wanna stay here and that they're happy, and the morale is up. Unfortunately, despite my, CFO license and my experience in contract negotiations, I was not awarded the opportunity in any of these meetings, and I do agree with you holding off and really reviewing this and bringing it back to the table. It was not taken into consideration what this would do for the budget, and I believe a lot of things were not addressed that should have been. And I'm very unhappy to read that in this contract, when we have GWU that still hasn't been settled and PDA that hasn't even expired, that we are just dictating a new holiday, that we're gonna be taking off without really asking anybody. I don't know how we assume that GWU is going to agree to that.
Right, and that's
So
why.
that's just some of my
Yeah,
concerns.
that's why I think the floating holiday in trade-off is much better, because you have many different religions here that we have to take into account for, and, so I think the floating holiday solves that problem as far as, it's still, and like I said, the cost of living doesn't have to come out, but then something else has to fall as far as I'm concerned, either steps or.
I just wanna clarify that my comments had nothing to do with the negotiations, because I do not have experience in that part of it, or how it affects the budget. It's just the comment you made regarding taking out COLA and leaving longevity, I'm like, that's not gonna work for everybody, because they don't get the
Well,
steps, and then it wouldn't mean no increase for 4 years at all.
Right, well, that's
I
why.
agree, I understood what you were
That's
saying,
why I
I
was
just think
trying
that
to-
it's something that I think that we do need to discuss, especially from a budgetary standpoint, and that would be a starting point.
Right,
So,
yeah,
I
the
agree.
more people that are involved in this negotiation, believe it or not, the better things are thought out and the better they will be for the rest of the town.
Yeah,
And hopefully the employees, like I said, I mean, I'm not looking to not give them any money, I just wanna better control how much raises we're giving them. Cause you got for this particular contract, you got 3 different levels of increases that happen every year annually. Like I said, last year, some of them amounted to 16, 17% raises. And the town just can't sustain that. So, that were some of my ideas. Now, if anybody wanted me to be involved and further talk about this, I'd be happy to. But at this time, I just think we either gotta table this or flat out turn it down and send them back to the negotiating table.
And Candace, with these negotiations, the stipends aren't part of that either, right?
Which stipends are you referring to? The ones that were in the ordinance?
Yeah, there's people that get stipends, and I don't even think that's been handled properly.
That was in the salary ordinance that was passed, so that, it was a resolution, and now it has been made into.
Right.
It is, but that would be separate from this contract. What is it, 2 out of, the 5 that you would be referring to aren't even under a contract, and the other 2 are actually under GWU, not CWA. So I don't know if there are some things that I personally think should be added as far as stipends is concerned, but, that doesn't have to be listed in the contract.
I just think what Danny was saying is that, stipends is just another way for an employee to get a raise, I mean, it's not every year, but each year it's another possibility. So there are ways to keep making more money in this town, but, like I said, listen to the rest of the council, if anybody has any comments, but that's what I say.
Everybody should be paid the same. I'm not saying the dollar amount.
Oh, well, yeah, that's separate from this contract, they should all be paid out, I don't know how that goes every 2 weeks, once a year, how they get paid their stipends.
So the ones that are addressed in that contract, I believe, are annual. There's I believe, a reason for those specific ones and why they are paid out annually and not per paycheck, because they have to, meet certain guidelines in order to get paid out. Where,
Something contractual.
yes, where other stipends that are paid out throughout the year are typically an additional duty that employees doing throughout the year, and that's why they would be paid throughout the year.
Like the guy that's doing the CDL training, I think that's $100 a person.
Yeah, something
I mean,
like that,
it's an opportunity
so
for
you
them.
wouldn't give him, X amount per pay, because you don't know how many people he would be training.
And I think I read one, somebody that MUA can get up to $25,000. I didn't dig into it to see what that did.
I'd have to look into that one.
I think that's for a licensing stipend, I think.
And our attorney brought up a valid point too, sometimes when you're doing these stipends are pensionable. I think that makes a difference as well.
Yes, the ones that are paid throughout the year are considered part of the pension. The ones that are paid once a year are not considered part of the pension. And that has been looked into and checked that it is valid for that, with the state and with our auditors.
Okay, so as far as they go, everybody's been paid the proper way?
Yes, yes.
Sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I see one hit going one way and one hit
Well,
going.
we haven't, I haven't changed rate, not changed rates.
Yes,
But
so
other
it's
than,
not being paid.
well, it will
Because
be.
it's not being punished.
Yes, it will be though, after the 26th, it's not.
Alright, sorry to get off the track.
You're okay. All right, so, do we have anything on 289?
I think everything should be verified, so if people get the money that they deserve since January,
Mike.
I think there's gotta be a little bit more discussion on this to make sure that it's 100% right and everybody's paying what they're supposed to be paid. And get the money in the employees that have been waiting since January.
And I don't think shooting it down, in my opinion, is the way to go, because I think it sends a negative impression to the employees.
About shooting it down, we're
Table it.
trying to get the
No, what I'm saying is correct, what I'm saying is table it instead of, just saying no.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I'll make a motion that we table it, each council member send Amy suggestions to the mayor, and, he can go back to the negotiating table and see what they can do. That's my motion, I guess.
How long do you want to table it, until the next meeting?
next meeting. But, Chris, Joe, are we on the right track here?
Yes. You, first, we legitimate to table the resolution at this moment until you have an opportunity to revisit some of the suggestions that have been
I
made.
think they're legitimate questions and concerns, and I wanna make it perfectly clear that we're not here to hurt the employees, we just wanna make sure everybody gets paid right and gets their back pay the way it should be.
Yeah, and I also don't think you need to establish a time frame.
certainly will come back to this body once there is either an impasse or they've agreed to something. That'll be brought back to the governing body, which will be able to take that resolution up at any meeting, including the next meeting or any meeting thereafter.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor, we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Abstain.
And I'd further like to say that, I hope, Jack, that you do invite the CFO into further negotiations, since, she does hold the purse strings and could give you, some help. We gotta keep our budget as tight as we can.
Okay, moving on. Ordinances for second reading, public hearing, and/or adoption. Ordinance number 27, 2025. An ordinance of the Township of Pemberton, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 62 Affordable Housing. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the attorney for a little explanation.
Thank you. As you all may recall at the last meeting, when this ordinance was up for second reading and final adoption, I suggested that the governing body consider carrying the ordinance to this meeting for further review. At the time, it was suggested that there may be some minor revisions that were needed to the ordinance. In order to accommodate those revisions, the additional time would have been appropriate. I also indicated that if those revisions, however, were substantive in nature, that it would require either the ordinance being amended on second reading, in which case then it would have to be re-advertised and held for second reading and public hearing at a later meeting, or more simply, having a new ordinance introduced. So you have received the revisions from your consultant that apparently comply with some of the requirements in order to achieve compliance for your fair housing obligations. Those revisions are substantive, in my opinion, which would require the governing body to table this ordinance number 27, and introduce by title ordinance number 29, which essentially is the revised ordinance, in which case it would have to be republished, and then you would have second reading and final adoption at a subsequent meeting. So if it pleases the governing body, it would be appropriate to have a motion to table the motion that's on, or the ordinance that's on the agenda this evening, and then followed by a motion to introduce the new ordinance, which we would read by title.
Okay, and in retrospect, if we decide to table that, we'll also table the public portion of it as well, to me, correct?
By tabling the second read, by tabling the ordinance, you effectively do that.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So there's a motion to table ordinance number 27, 2025.
I'll make a motion to table ordinance number 27, 2025.
Second.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
And so now you'll need a motion to approve ordinance, or to introduce ordinance number 29, 2025, an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 62 Affordable Housing.
Make a motion to introduce ordinance 29-2025 for a second reading to be when, Amy?
I believe it would have to be the first meeting in November, because it has to go to the planning board, so November 5th.
No, there's only one meeting in November because of election day. 12th, I believe, right? No?
Election day is the 4th.
Oh, okay.
Election day is always a Tuesday.
Matt and I were talking about that, and we thought that there was no meeting on the day after election day, but I guess our calendar.
I can double check, but I can.
Hey, I can have a meeting.
As it's noted, I had internet issues, and I can't get online at the moment unless I go on my phone. I believe it's the 5th, if not.
Just quickly, gentlemen, I
It
believe.
would be the 12th, but it'll be advertised with the correct date.
Yeah, okay. All right, well,
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, the motion was made by Mr. Harper.
yes.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes. Moving on, number 10, new business, purchases over $3,000. Number A1, police. Yes.
If I may, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just checked the calendar, and Mr. Harper is actually right. There is no meeting on the 5th, it is on the 12th.
Very good.
He's over.
Okay, I apologize, I thought we had the 5th because, so it didn't interfere with the week, but I guess the week is the following week. So,
So that will be on the 12th.
the 12th, okay.
You guys will be back on the 12th. You're going the week before. That's why we canceled that.
Gentlemen, do either of you have any questions on 1, 2, or 3 for the purchases, or can we do them all in one?
We wanna talk about number 2.
Okay. Number 1, police, 2 rugged patrol car laptops, GTAC S510 from Palisades Sales Corporation, with a total amount of $4,850.
Make a motion to approve new business.
Second.
A1.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Abstain. Number 2, Public Works, installation of 460 feet of gas main for pump station number 3 with PSE&G in the total amount of $45,237.47.
Where is well number 3? Pump station.
Pump station.
It's, over in Sunbury, up on Lemon, I think it is.
Lemon, okay, I knew it was in Sunbury.
And is that just running the gas line and hooking it up, or is that a new generator?
I believe we're redoing the building, everything inside there, we're redoing. This is just one part of the project.
Okay, so do we have an estimate of what the cost is gonna be?
For the whole project?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that off the top of my head, no.
I understand that this was needed to be done because they have to tap into a high pressure main to be able to run the generator. And, it's the first step in the project.
This is a project that's been on the books since before I was in office 3 years ago.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it being approved. Nobody has any other questions?
Say if there's, do we need a little more clarity on anything?
Well, I mean, I don't think so.
Jack, we have an employee here, are we able to, we want him, if he has any knowledge for this or no? Need your permission for it.
I mean, it's up to him if he wants to volunteer, I'm not gonna tell him he has to.
Okay, that's fine.
What do you know?
Matt, would you be able to lend any clarity to this voluntarily or no?
On what, exactly?
Pump station 3 in Sunbury Village.
The project itself has been approved for years.
Right.
This is something that I guess was missed by.
RH.
There you go. Yes, now that you brought that up,
But
yes.
they literally just found out about it like 2 weeks ago, so. That they needed more pressure than was available in the street. It's gotta come off PBM Road.
So they gotta run from PBM into the station?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir, very much. Does that help?
I was good with it.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve new business A2.
I'll second.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes. A3, Public Works, parts and ECM programming for fire truck number 1632 from Johnson & Towers LLC at a total amount of $10,143.69.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Mr. Ward,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
And if I could have a moment there, I have a question for the solicitors.
And Harry, I have one after you on that one.
Okay, we brought up on this, gas line being run and stuff being missed by ARH Engineering. This is not the first of issues that these people have missed, but billed us for and stuff. We recently finalized a, grant for a park, and we got, $170,000 less than what we were supposed to get because they overbilled for things and the grant would only accept so much engineering cost. Is there any way we can go after ARH for their inadequacy on some of these billing problems? It's been a long-standing problem long before Harry and Matt and I got on here. And, we're phasing them out, but as we're phasing them out, we're finding more and more problems. So can we hold them, financially responsible for any of this stuff?
You could possibly seek, some type of, what might ultimately result in some settlement between the entity and the township. But basically, it'll involve a lawsuit. Now you can decide whether you either wanna be a plaintiff or a defendant. I say that because if they have monies that are due and owed to them for services rendered, you may withhold it.
Right.
In which case they'll obviously try to sue you, and you might be able to settle, somewhere. The other thing is not to ever use them again.
Well, we are phasing them out, but we're still unfortunately keep coming up with these problems that,
Well, if you have any retainage or any other funds that do and owe, you may just want to arm wrestle at the table to see if you could receive restitution from them in that fashion.
Okay, I see the CFO has something to tell us.
I do know that there are multiple invoices, being held, that shouldn't be eligible to be paid. They are claiming that it's 100% complete, but the project is in fact not complete. So, they are being held in addition to anything that was held from any previous meetings. We aren't holding escrows though, if we are being paid for them, unless we're not being paid for them. So those are also being held. As far, I can speak, I'm not a lawyer, but I can speak on the fact that, we can go through, a lot of ARH's contracts were not to exceed, and then it was amended multiple times.
Yes.
It's at that point where honestly, we should have had grant money to cover those amendments prior to going with a resolution and getting it approved, which clearly wasn't the case. But what we do wanna make sure is also that, those amendments add up to what they billed us. Making sure that we have the resolutions to actually back up what they're billing us.
Candace, do you have a ballpark figure? And again, not being helpful
I don't know.
of the invoices that you have that we're not paying yet?
No, but I can get it to you tomorrow.
We're looking at 6 figures or no?
I don't believe so, no.
And if you could, find out if we still owe them any money on this particular project, because at the very least, I would like to get equal to what ERI had to be paid to fix this problem. At least we'd like to get that covered, so.
We'd be happy to sit down with the CFO and see if there's a strategy that we can employ to.
Okay, because I'm sure as we're phasing them out, it's gonna come up again, so, All right, thank you.
If I could make two things. Harry and I were invited to the MUA for a tour. So Candace, you probably know this. I would say the new roof on the MUA building was done within the last 2 years. That'd be a fair question.
I would not know that.
2 or 3 years.
I'd say 3 years. So Harry and I pulled up in front, we park out front, and I'm looking at the roof and I'm seeing all the rust coming down this brand new roof. And there's a stack. I guess it's the front door to go in. It's rotted off about 3 inches above the roof. Gone. And I'm saying, how could that be in, 3 years? If it was stainless steel, shouldn't have rotted off.
I know it's coming out of that stacks.
Yeah, but,
Pretty corrosive.
oh yeah. And the other comment that I made, in my world, I deal with engineers all the time. when they engineer the job, and I get on the job and there's a problem, they belly up to the bar. I get paid for their mistakes, and I just don't understand it in my brain. A municipality gets it shoved up their butt. They don't pay for nothing. You know, when they did that roof at the MUA, they go to put the wall up, or the roof on, and then here the wall's ready to fall down, so that was an extra. So they put the trusses on, put the tin on it. Oh, it was when I first got in here. I said, why would you put shingles on the building when you can put tin on it and it's there forever? Oh, that's a great idea. They charged the $7,000 to change it from shingles to tin. And then the building's all done, and it's another $38,000 because the nitwits didn't cut the holes in the roof for the vents. I mean, you could write a book about this company. And in my world, I get reimbursed. You know, they screw up the design and we have to make a change, I get paid. But not in this world, I don't understand it.
Well,
If I can, oh, I'm sorry, I
welcome
thought
to
you all.
the, first of all, you should be glad you're not an attorney. Listen, I'm sure they have a professional liability policy, just like legal law offices do for malpractice. However, in that regard, you have to prove your case. That means in the lawsuit, you have to retain your own expert, which is probably some other engineering firm willing to testify against the other engineering firm, and it costs a mountain of money. We appreciate the work, of course, but, you know, so I think we'll meet with the CFO in regard to this issue and see if there's some way, you know, we can leverage a responsible, reimbursement package.
I mean, it's millions of dollars. I don't know how many years they were here, but I'll tell you what, that's one lucky company. They're probably all retired now.
If I can,
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I want to point one thing out, because there's a minor error that probably won't mean anything, but on the fire truck ECM, it says fire truck 1632.
Should be 1832.
It should be 1832.
That was one where 16 came from.
So we might just want to mention that for the record.
Because once again, the township clerk made a typing error.
And I wasn't trying
Thank
to
you
say
for
that.
pointing it out.
Yeah.
Guess I don't get my step increase.
Did you report something for your
No, I did get my part-time employee, thank you.
All right, new business B, discussion of grant budget statuses.
All right, how do you drop your watch?
I don't know where to start.
Well, you know, again, I'm not picking on Mr. Brunson, but I'm just wanting to make him aware. Have you gotten a copy of this, all these outstanding grants and stuff, Mr. Brunson?
Yes, I did send it to him, we discussed,
Okay.
what monies he has in capital and grants, that he can start on that, and he is aware of the local recreation improvement grant that is
Okay,
from
yeah,
last year.
yeah, I know you're new here, but, you know, because there are some grants there that, you know, fall into your department, and hopefully, you work, you know, something out to use them. I mean,
Just to let you know, I'm definitely well versed in grants. I'm actually a grant writer.
yeah,
And in Willingboro, I actually handled our municipal grants from our L grade to our Green Acres. Actually have a meeting tomorrow with Green Acres to go over the ROTC to finish the lighting project.
okay,
So, yeah, definitely,
okay.
this candidates, we actually had
Sounds like
a conversation
you're our
about that.
man.
Was that?
I like it.
Sounds like you're our man.
Try to be.
Like I said, I just wanted to, you know, make sure you are aware that there's
Yes.
some grants out there. And I know, you know, we brought up earlier Pole Bridge, Park, and I don't remember the exact amount, but there was money in our budget, plus some grant money for that park, so hopefully that, you know,